Okay, so we're gonna do quarter two flip through. The first thing I wanted to show you guys was the tracker. So I changed it to a tracker here, and then what I did was I did a percentage. So this is like I have 62% because I was giving myself points. If it had a dot, it was worth 1 for good, better was 2, best was 3, and level up was 4 points. So then I did mathematical equations, tried to figure out the percentages, and so then on this month I was able to see I did not as good on my water. I was 8.7% less than there, but then the ones with the stars I did better on, and the ones that don't have the stars I need to work on better. And you can see that there's some blank, but at least I was keeping track of my water and how much I was drinking. I'm doing a lot better this month because my goal is not to be better than anybody else, but to be better than my past self. So I'm working on trying to up my percentages for July. Little sneak peek into next quarter. And then if we look at the calendars, I kept with the goals on the side. Still had some schoolwork, a lot of appointments, meetings, that type of thing. Then the goals disappear, and then I kept track of the videos that I was posting, but mainly it's just meetings and different things and holidays. June, same way. And then I pulled off one of the stickers here and I put a hole in, so I just covered it, and I thought it looked okay. It was pretty cool. And then so then I just kind of kept track, and then what days I wasn't working, that type of thing. So those are the monthlies. They're pretty similar. I didn't do any goals in May, but I did goals in June. So I think I'm gonna put my goals back up in July, and then do probably currently on the calendars from here on out. So then if we look at the weeklies, if I can find it. Okay, so weeklies, I still kept it as archives, inked personal education. I had it all marked out. And then I was writing words or putting stickers in on the days I wasn't really doing it. I was still maintaining my water and my steps, but I stopped doing the miles. And then sometimes whenever I saw blank spots, I would just slap a sticker in right there. So it kind of kept it pretty consistent through the rest of till finals. And then you'll notice that these become a lot less. And then the Saturdays and stuff, like the Last of Us marathon, worked on my art journal, a lot of education stuff for the finals. Mother's Day, did some filming, but mainly it is a lot of archive stuff, not so much inked. It was like I was almost in burnout mode after finals, so I didn't really do too much of anything else except maybe a little bit on the weekends. And then I just would put stickers in to kind of spruce it up and make it look pretty. So then we're into May, into June. And then what I started to do was, if you see here, I moved my weekly reflections into the weekly section on the end of Saturday and Sunday, because I mainly do big words, or I'm just doing a list of to-dos sometimes, depends. So I thought it's a perfect place to put the reflections, and I really like that it's there. So in June I continued that, kind of talking, focusing on if I met my goals, if I was doing things that were helpful for that. And then I did do some ink stuff in here, trying to break down what I'm focusing on for the business for each day. And then more weekly reflections. This is mainly to-dos because I didn't have work in the archives for this week, and then we had Black Hills Con, so then it was mainly just a bunch of checklists of things I needed to do. So and then the last week of June here. So then if we go into the dailies, end of March, we have April. These are, some of them are blank. This is a quote. And then these are my currentlies. And then we had a bunch of different ideals, some things I was talking to about with another trainer. Then I was still doing my weekly reviews, wasn't really filling it out too well. A lot of quotes, breakdowns, business things. Then I split some of the pages. I used washi around and some books. I went to go get my glasses. This is an exercise regimen for 2 different weeks that I wanted to try out. And then I did another weekly review, staff meeting, and then some things that needed to be like an action list. Then we have different quotes. I used a couple of boxes. I had to focus on homework, almost done. So I add the washi tape and the stickers, at least the big ones, before I even do anything, so I can kind of separate it out. I was still doing the weekly reviews in April and breaking it down. Some of it's like movie ideals, more quotes of Lord of the Rings, language learning was this whole section, talking about control, expectations, and then some book ideals. And then like information, 6 skills, different titles for things that I do. A lot of quotes, a lot of, this is currently kind of like a little booklet. And then this is one of our stickers, oh you're so salty. And then for May, it was just kind of quotes. This is what I wanted to say about the sky and the earth and the clouds, video ideals. This is building my dragon-born wood elf character for D&D. Weekly reflections. This is some other characters I wanted to kind of build and I'm still working on. This is a breakdown of my book thoughts. Some quotes, things that I was thinking about doing. And then I start naming the days. Sticking stickers in. Drew Inky. And then talking about tattoos. More quotes, staff meetings, action steps. Talking about the days up here, and then different things on the bottom. More book ideals for my hidden powers. Comic book. I have the fantasy book written, but now we're turning it into a comic book, so I wanted some different ideals on that. And then Adventures in Middle Earth. We did a Hobbit and Lord of the Rings marathon. Quotes. And just kind of self-publishing for writers. Planning the Realm. And then art project that I worked on, that the painting now glows in the dark. And then Feast of Memories. Different quotes. Unexpected visitors, a meal with the hatchling, some things about growing. So this is really a lot of like little pieces on the day. Some days have more, some days just have like a little tiny paragraph, and then I fill it with quotes or thoughts about different things. Then June, these are not filled out, and then kind of focusing on little things. And then this is like a dream. This is a trip to shops. we went out to eat, and then lessons within the box, feeding the hatchling, talking about that, the good, the bad moments. So there's a lot of different things in June that I started to do, and I used my brown pen. That was pretty much it, except for the black pen for the titles. But it is mainly quotes, segments about my day, reflections, writing tips, designing weaponry, 12 things to always remember, channel transformation, and then deeper you heal. And we went on our trip in the Black Hills, and then the mark you know, and stress completion. And then this was the Black Hills con here, and I split it up and I took some pictures of Jay and her cosplay, and then presentation reflections, and it lifts up so you can read the other stuff. And then shifting of ink scroll, we were talking about some things we're gonna get, and then back in the stacks when I'm back to work, and then some other quotes and things. So this is a sneak peek at July, but this is making me happy. I write a lot of quotes in here. This is something I'm going to look back on, and I just slap in stickers wherever I feel like I want to put some stickers in. Been printing out pictures to add into there when I see some that I want to print out. So maybe this gave you some ideals for your planner, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye, Muppy.